What's going on, YouTube? It's Paul Piper back here with you. And tonight, we're going to be doing another pipe tobacco review. This time we're going to be reviewing Hearth Home White Knight. So, add that to the plethora of reviews that we've done on this channel. And we're going to talk a little bit about the centennial anniversary of one of the greatest singers of all time, Dean Martin. So, tonight we are smoking this White Knight in a new estate pipe that I picked up. It's actually an Amphora Extra Model 821. 821. Kind of a unique rim on the top of the bowl here. So it's kind of got a concave feature to it. It's rusticated. It's bent. Not a bad little pipe. And picked this up at a antique store. I got 3 estate pipes for $4. Total. Not $4 a piece. Total. And I like this one probably the best out of the lot. There was one that was I think it was an Everyman London made, probably from the 40s. Kind of cool, but I don't know, I like this one. And if you can hear in the background, that is Dino singing. Now Dino was an Ohio boy like me. Actually grew up in Steubenville, Ohio, over by Youngstown, right on the border with West Virginia. Got his beginnings sweeping up, I think, as a young man at a cigar store. And, you know, kind of got involved with some of the bar scene and the underbelly, you know, back in Depression era Steubenville. And being an Italian, his name was Dino Crescetti. You know, it just, I guess he had that connection, I suppose, to some of the Italian mob and stuff. Not that Dean Martin was all mobbed up. That was more Sinatra. If you look at the history of the Rat Pack, that was very much more Sinatra. Sinatra was the chairman of the board and had a lot of connections with Lucky Luciano and some of the other Italian mob figures back in the day. And Dean Martin kind of stayed away from it. He didn't get involved in the political campaigns that Frank Sinatra did. He kind of just wanted to be left alone, do his own thing, and just be a hell of a singer and entertainer. And he was. Dean Martin probably had one of the best voices of all time. I mean, he was just a fantastic singer. So I encourage you, if you haven't really explored the Dean Martin songbook, to definitely check it out. I think you'll really like it. But let's talk a little bit about Hearth Home's White Knight. White Knight is part of the Hearth Home series, Marquee series. Russ Olette from Pipes and Cigars put this together. Let's look at the presentation. Kind of a neat tin. It has the White Knight pictured there on his steed with his sword drawn, ready for battle. And on the reverse, we have a little label here. It says Hearth Home Marquee Series White Knight. White Knight is a medium-bodied, very complex and well-balanced Balkan-style blend created to evoke memories of one of the most iconic pipe tobaccos ever made. And they're talking about Balkan Sobrani. Um, distributed by Pipes and Cigars, Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. And it does come in the 1.76 ounces. It doesn't say that on here, but standard tin size. As far as the appearance of the tobacco leaf, going to come in tin there, and as you can kind of see, got a nice mixture of lighter colored leaf with dark black of the Latakia. It's a nice medium body. I'm not going to say that this is full. I didn't look it up. I do believe it probably has brown Cavendish in it, has Virginia and Latakia in it. It might. I don't know if it has like a Macedonian Bright in it, so a Macedonian Virginia. I'm not sure. I think that the Latakia comes to the forefront with me. So the smokiness of the Latakia. I would definitely say that that comes to the forefront of this blend. It's a good tobacco. A little bit of spiciness. Very, very faint sweetness to it. Very faint. I get more of a well-balanced, medium smokiness to this blend. Now it's hard to judge room note, as you pipe smokers know. I would probably surmise that the room note is going to be typical Latakia. So it's going to be very smoky, campfire smell to folks in the room. And I think with Latakia, you either like it or you don't. I know my wife actually likes the smell of Latakia. So if you're fortunate enough to be living with somebody that enjoys it, enjoys the campfire aroma, then maybe you can light this English blend up, or Balkan blend, up in the house and not be run out on a rail. So yeah, so I think that's probably what's going to be the aromatic quality of it. It's going to be that smokiness, campfire smell. So yeah. Now, a little bit more on Dean Martin. Again, 100 years this month. Dean died in, I think, December of 1995, if I remember. Maybe 1996. Now, a lot of, can be said about his on-stage persona. His on-stage persona was, kind of the carefree and gay fellow. A lot of times he would pretend to be drunk, and it was an act. He would not go out on stage drunk. He didn't rehearse, so he would just go out and belt out a song, or when he had his Dean Martin show, his variety show, a lot of times he didn't want to rehearse. He would just go out and do it. And, there was a genuine quality to that. It wasn't something that was fabricated or fake or false. It was just a genuine guy who had a profound talent that could go out and have fun and get people to connect with them and to bond with them. And that's so much of what entertainment is. and why I think a lot of people nowadays maybe struggle, because it's all fabricated. It's not real. There's either no real talent or there's no real charisma present. And Dean had both. So I've always really enjoyed music of the 30s and 40s. I count it as one of my core genres. I like classic country, and I like big band music, so the instrumental aspect of it, and swing from the 30s and 40s. And then you have the vocalists that were, Bing Crosby, Dean Martin, Frank Sinatra, Perry Como, Nat King Cole, Sammy Davis Jr., the whole lineup of entertainers, from singers, crooners from the 30s, 40s, and even into the 50s, And a lot of the Rat Pack stuff, the Rat Pack was in its height in the 1960s. So those guys were all fairly old, more mature, I would say, by the time the 60s come around. And, I've got some of their albums as a Rat Pack, with all of them singing together, Dean and Frank and Sammy Davis Jr., and it doesn't get any better than that. If you can imagine just being back in Las Vegas, which was a town that was built by really them, and the mob, that would have been so cool to go out there and sit in a nightclub and listen to, those guys just sing the night away and just have a good time. Back in the early 60s. And, the music that they sing, the lyrics, we'll never have that again. At least not anytime soon. The talent, the actual ability to sing, rather than relying on computerized, voice modulators and all the different things that they rely on today. You get real talent back then. And like I said, Dean Martin was paramount. If you read about him, his main influencers were Bing Crosby. And Bing was kind of the father of, you could even, pop music. I think that's fair to say that Bing Crosby was the father of pop music. Even Crosby had his idols and his predecessors, namely Al Jolson, a name that doesn't really carry the weight in today's society that it used to. But there was a time that Al Jolson was king. But Dean grew up listening to Bing Crosby's records. And he also was heavily influenced by the Mills Brothers, which was a black trio of brothers. And I think Latrell Mills was one of Dean's favorites. And, those influences, like I said, created one of the best talents, the best voices, inspired one of the best entertainers to enter the stage. And Dean started out with Jerry Lewis. Jerry Lewis, who is, I think I saw an article online that he was hospitalized here. I think Jerry's about 91 or 92 years old right now. And, at one time, Jerry Lewis was one of probably the most famous men in the world. And a lot of it has to do with his act with Dean Martin. Dean Martin was kind of the square guy, or not the square guy, but the steady guy. And Jerry Lewis was kind of the outrageous, off-the-wall slapstick, dude. in the pair. And back in the 50s, I mean, that was one of the hottest acts in America. And they had a falling out, and Martin switched off and went solo and focused on his singing career. And he did some movies. I would encourage you to watch the Western with John Wayne and Dean Martin called Rio Bravo. Rio Bravo is a great movie. And another really good movie that features all the big shots in the Rat Pack, including Bing Crosby, who was not a member of the Rat Pack, but again, as the inspiration for Frank Sinatra and Dean Martin, he's in the movie. And then also Columbo himself, Peter Falk. And that is Robin and the Seven Hoods. It's a great movie. It's a musical set in Depression era Chicago. And check it out. Check it out. I think you'll really like it. So, Dino, wherever you are, up above, I really appreciate the contributions you made to music and to American culture. So, cheers to Dean Martin on your 100th birthday. The rest of you, Hearth Home White Knight, very smooth, no tongue bite, stays lit pretty well. I'm somebody that likes to do a fresh light fairly routinely on my bowls. Not that it was necessarily necessary in all circumstances, but it retains the same flavor, the same smokiness, very mild smokiness, with a very light undertone, very, very light undertone of sweetness. It's a solid Balkan blend. Now, as far as how it compares with Balkan and Sobrani, I can't really say. I don't have that experience back in the day with it, but White Knight, I know, carries with it high regards. So pick it up. Hopefully Hearth & Home will continue to make the Marquee series and include White Knight within its lineup. So we can enjoy high quality tobacco at a fairly reasonable price. This, I picked up this 10. Again, I got it in a tobacco shop, Indian River Tobacco Traders up in Wyoming, Michigan, for $14.19. So I think you could probably pick it up online for maybe about $9.99, something like that. So if you get it at a brick and mortar or you order it online, give it a shot. I think you'll like it. So anyways, folks, thanks for watching. I appreciate all those of you who have subscribed. Thank you so much. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Hit like, add some comments. Let me know what you think about Dean Martin, about White Knight, pretty much anything. I like to have that dialogue going and to have some conversation. So, till next time, if the good Lord's willing and the creek don't rise, I'll see ya. It's been Paul Piper. Take care.